Welcome, halftime fans. My name is Faustman, and our show today we have Heather Vanmill, my friend. She's a social worker, and she's committed to healthy relationships. Heather, are you there?
Yep, I'm right here.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me here.
Awesome. So our show, it's a first-time show. It's back to basics. It's talking about a hardwiring in Christ through conversations. So we're going to do weekly conversations every Sunday at 5:30. We're going to focus on life issues in Christ, ranging from communications, love, sex, and etc. Our goal is to help you in your marriage and family and businesses. This month's topic is practical love. The first thing you're asking, Faust man, what is love? And it's not baby, don't hurt me, no more.
That's pretty good. Okay, keep going.
So, well, there's several definitions, but we're going to go to the source. We're going to go to the Bible, 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. We'll be there in one moment. All right, so love is patient and kind, does not envy or boast, it is not arrogant or rude, it does not insist on its own way, it is not irritable or resentful, it does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with all truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. As for prophecy, they will pass away. As for tongues, they will cease. And as for knowledge, it will pass away. So, we have a basic definition of it now, and kind of an in-depth one. You're probably overloaded of what is love, but how do I apply it? So, we're going to go through Dr. Gary Chapman's 5 Love Languages book. Specifically, we're going to dive into the first language this week, maybe 2 depending on time. So, let's get started. So, our first language is words of affirmation. So, Mark Twain said, I can live for 2 months on a good compliment. Heather, can you live on 2 months on a compliment?
I think that's an awesome quote. And yeah, I mean, I think having positive affirmation or words of affirmation, it builds somebody up and it strengthens the relationship for sure.
That's awesome. For me, I live on words and compliments for 2 seconds. So that's not my primary. But let's think about, does our spouse need this? I know my spouse does. Even Solomon said, the tongue has the power of life and death. So how much will this empower our relationships? We're going to dive into the types of affirming words. So, but anytime you want to join the conversation, you can call us at 253-584-1480. And we got a new option for the millennials and also myself, as we have a Facebook page. It's Back to Basics. BACK, the number 2, in basics. You can text message questions through the messenger, and we will answer those as we get those. So you can either call us at 253-584-1480, or you can text message us at Back to Basics on Facebook. So, all right. So let's get started, or you can call us. What does the word encourage mean? What do you think it means, Heather?
You know, when I hear the word encourage, some of the things that come, to my mind is somebody that is influencing, supporting another person and strengthening that person. So it's very positive, and that's what comes to my mind when I hear the word encourage.
That is a great definition. Another definition that Dr. Thomas talks about is to inspire courage. I never thought of it this way. It's very cool to go over and to just take courage and give it to people. So these words take a latent potential in our spouse, and we can bring positive change or even dreams. So if we inspire courage into that spouse, like my wife, it's going to go over and open dreams, and I wanted to give an example of that. So my wife, about 2 years ago, was wrestling on what God has for her, and we were wrestling between the massage therapy or going to culinary school. My wife has great hands and can massage anything out of your back, but at the same time, sometimes her hands go numb, so that's kind of not cool. But she loved cooking. Everything, she wakes up and she loved cooking, but she didn't have the courage to get up there, so I inspired that courage. Told her about her giftings, seeing where she could be blessed at. Had a blessing of a scholarship to go over and give to my wife to go to school for the year. And she eventually went to school, and she got a 4.0 at Le Cordon Bleu, was a Blue Robe, which is like the ultimate graduate, and now she's going to pursue personal chef in the year 2017. And if you guys are looking for some awesome food and some R&D, we can talk about that another time.
So, Faustman, I got a question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
So, was it difficult for you to be authentic and ask her, be encouraging? Did you feel at any time just kind of fake when you were encouraging her?
No, not in those particular regards. When it comes to dreams and gifts, that's like me specifically. I have that inspiring thing. But to go over and say, I love you, those types of things, inspire those types of things in her, that's the hard part for me. Because it's not my primary love language. But I do have some gifting in that to inspire courage. So I fit more on the encouraging words side of affirming words. So perhaps your spouse has some untapped potential in one or more areas of life. Sometimes an encouraging word or words can empower the drive or courage to boldly make that dream come true. So, do you, the listeners, have any examples of any good encouraging words that affected your loved ones? You can call us at 253-584-1480 or go on Facebook and go to our Facebook page is Back to Basics on our Facebook page, and we'll take any text and try to answer that quickly. So we talked about encouraging words. Let's look at something else, maybe about kind words. As we talked earlier, love is kind, as the scriptures speak, so we must use kind words. So what is kindness? Let's go back to Heather and see what she thinks about kindness.
I think you're showing, you're just being active in demonstrating how you're thinking of another person, and they're in the forefront of your mind. Those are some thoughts that I had about kindness, but you're doing something for another person.
Mm-hmm. And kindness has to do with how we talk sometimes. So if I say, I love you, or I say, I love you, it means two different things on how we interpret it. If I'm angry and I emphasize the word you, it's going to could be angry, or if I go over and I get all sappy, it can sound a different way. So did you hear the difference at all? If I say, I love you, and I love you, So.
That's pretty good.
Thanks. Yeah. So you got to do the one-hand clap, too, when you're doing the I love you. Yeah. It's one of my giftings I can't show you on the radio, but I can at least let you hear it.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Hey, so what do you think kind words are, or how would you define that?
For kind words is to go over, and sometimes depends. Like, sometimes kind words is not to speak. Like, my wife got a blessing on some other type of furniture the other day, and for me, I didn't like the furniture. So for kind words for me is sometimes to retract my actual thoughts. So I'd rather just say, okay, you like it, and I'm glad that you're happy, and I hope that works out well for you, or things of that nature. And sometimes even retracting the words that you're going to say, because sometimes you can be too critical. Other ways of kind words are saying, you are beautiful. You basically be saying you are terms in a positive way, like you are beautiful, you are sexy, gorgeous, you're a great cook, things of that nature. That's giving positive. Just make sure when you're using the you are statement, you're giving positive affirmations on that, because if you say you are stupid, you're an idiot, those are negative terms. You want to use more of I feel statements. Another thing about kind words is it's not about our words. It's our body language communicates 55%. So I can say I love you, but if I'm standing aloof and looking down in my head and, my hands, and I'm not going to be communicating the same thing. It's also my tone. My tone is like 38% of what I communicate. We typically don't listen to what people say. We listen to their tone. But 7% is words. So what message do you communicate? Again, if you want to call in, you can call us at 253-584-1480. Or again, you can text us at Back to Basics on Facebook to join in the conversation. And if you can't join in now and you're joining in later on a podcast, we'll definitely go answer your comments in 24 hours or less. Usually I'm pretty fast on the instant messenger. But how about when you get hurt? Can we express that hurt in kindness? Can we do that, Heather?
I think you can. I think you have to be careful when you are feeling a lot of emotion. And so if you are, we call it halt. So if you're hungry, angry, let's see, what's lonely or
And tired.
tired. If you're any of those things, it's probably best to take a time out before engaging and having, a conversation. That way you're not saying something you might regret, because as we know, words can really hurt and damage a relationship as well. So we want to make sure that we take that time out if we're feeling those things. And once we do take some time and we can reflect and gather our thoughts, then we can, really build the relationship with some positive affirmations.
Yes, definitely. And it depends. If you have words of affirmation as your gift, they're going to lift you up a lot faster, or they're going to hurt you a lot more. For me, it's quality time and acts of service, so words are usually not as important to me, because sometimes with the body language and the tone, do they really mean what they mean? Do they really mean what they say? Did they just go right off the cuff? Did they really think about it? That's what I'm looking for most of the time. So words of affirmation for me, if the body language and tone is not legit, then I'm not going to go listen to it. And plus, it's not my primary. It's actually one of my last ones. So I want to give an example of that. Instead of saying you are or this, that, which usually those are accusatory terms, and we don't think about that. We'll get into an argument, we'll say you are this, and you are that, and you are this, and we never go over and say like for example, I felt disappointed and hurt that you didn't offer to help me this evening. I feel statements will save your marriage. Trust me, it really does. It really communicates a lot. And when you're in those situations, you get tense conversations. Another thing that I've learned is holding someone else's hands. Well, obviously, it should be your spouse. You shouldn't be just holding your neighbor's hands if you have an argument. But, that's helped out a lot. I mean, I've been in a lot of arguments and whatnot and different things, and learning to grow and going over. And once I've held their hands, people can't get angry. They're holding their hands. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've never seen anybody shove a fist in their face while holding their hands. So, but I feel statements will save your marriage. So let's think about it another way. As an ancient sage once said, a soft answer turns away anger. And I'm going to say this again because it's just such a powerful statement. A soft answer turns away anger. So, if you learned nothing else on this radio station today, and having kind words is not to bring yesterday into today. So what do you think that means, Heather, before I give my answer?
One of the things I think about is like not keeping a scorecard, not throwing negative things that happened in the past into somebody's, into your spouse's face. And so that's on the negative side. So not bringing up yesterday's stuff, probably that comes to mind.
Yeah, and I would agree. So when we bring the past into the present, it causes the most pain for little to nothing of reward for the other, and it's typically sinful and selfish. We got to be honest with ourselves. When we say you are terms and we bring back yesterday or we bring back hurts, those don't work. And in the gospel, we should only be bringing up the past if it's affecting the present. We tend to bring up the past the fastest, and there's certain personality styles that bring it up more than others. There'll be another lesson like in April or May talking about communication and personality styles. But all in all, it's like, unless the past is affecting the present, we shouldn't bring it up because it just causes too much pain. And then it doesn't do anything. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I think you also have to be really careful, because I think there is a time and a place to talk about what may be hindering the relationship, things that have happened in the past. And I think there is a time and a place to discuss that, because if you don't and it just kind of goes underground, then it can build resentment. And you don't want that in a relationship either. So you want to be, of course, have that open line of communication. All healthy relationships, that's a key component, is having that open line of communication. And then at the same time, you don't want to hold on to any, have any grudges and punish the other person. So, and that's when you really need to start moving forward.
Mm-hmm. So, how do you apply it? And I'm asking the audience, so how do we apply it? So if you want to join the conversation again, our phone number is 253-584-1480. It's, again, 253-584-1480. Or you can find us on Facebook at Back to Basics. And it's back with the number 2, Basics. Easy to find our page. Just send us a message, put it on our page. Whatever way you get it out to us, we'll go over and answer those questions. You can also go to the visitors post throughout the week.